Well, here we
Dive
go.
in.
Cracking.
Dan,
Can we
you
do
want to
it?
explain who we have on the podcast here today? Cause
We
I don't
have a special guest today,
The one, the only, the world-renowned
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Chris Rusch.
think... Dad.
Dad.
Sam. Oh, yeah, Dad.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Happy to have you on. It's gonna be
Vyper
fun.
Energy. There we go.
I'm gonna
Cheers.
cheers of water. I already had too
Absolutely.
much caffeine today.
That was a double sipper.
Ooh, that's good.
Good cold.
So we got Chris Rusch on, Dylan and my dad,
Good English.
our dad,
There we go.
Father.
our fathers. So if it wasn't for this man we have sitting at the table, we truly wouldn't be where we're at today. The chairs that we're sitting on, this company that we built, was all because of this genius right here.
Oh, brother.
That was sick and tired of his cheap, poorly made shop stool while he was welding and working on all of his stuff. And he pieced together this shop chair that is now the Vyper chair, seen all across the country and world, all because of this man right here.
Wow.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is great.
Absolutely.
I've been excited to be here.
It's been long overdue.
Yeah.
We talked about a lot of things, and finally we're able to get you on. You've been traveling a lot lately.
I have been.
Good old Chicago yesterday,
Oh,
Milwaukee.
Don't even bring it up. Chicago, man. Anybody that lives there, what is wrong with you? That city fucking
Like, just
sucks.
instantly removed all the Chicago listeners.
Yeah, there goes all of our Chicago
So if you
I
listeners.
do have to wonder, though. I was there last week, and, like, who would want to sit in traffic for
It is
45 to
unbelievable.
50 minutes just to, like, get from one destination to the
45 minutes would have been fast. We sat in traffic for 2 hours.
next?
2 hours on the way there, 2 hours on the way out. It was brutal. I mean, it's
Chicago is honestly like a quick 3-hour drive if it didn't add up to 4.5 with traffic.
Yeah, it sucks. What were you saying? People start just blowing their brains out of the car.
I said I'm surprised there's not people just
There's
dead
mass
laying all
su-
over the place,
Mass
blowing their
suicide
brains out.
on the highways.
So if you want to know who Chris Rusch is, that's Chris Rusch right there.
Sorry, guys. I mean, I don't know. Being downtown and stuff is cool on occasion, but
Just getting there and getting out of there is a
the
problem.
traffic and stuff is just, it's unbearable.
You got good
for me.
food, though, too.
We live we live in paradise up here, or if I have to wait at
Don't
us.
tell them that. Don't tell them all that. They're all going to come up. They already come up here.
If I have to wait at a stoplight for 3 minutes, I'm already starting to get antsy.
You can see it too. You start gripping the
They're
steering
like,
wheel
come
a little
on,
tight.
turn green already, damn it.
We got to work on some breathing practices with you, I think.
Yeah. I just need to be freaking drunk going through.
You can't drive that.
I can't drive.
Well, in Chicago traffic, are you really driving? Let's be honest. Like,
No.
Yeah,
you're
we,
just sort of like inching.
it was 1 hour in, and I turned around to see where we left the McCormick place, and I could still see the Sears Tower.
Yeah, that's insane.
You're one of the people that I remember last time we drove to Chicago. You could see traffic ahead. We didn't hit it yet. It was
Brake
probably
lights.
like
Oh.
5 miles ahead.
Brake lights, brake lights, brake lights. Oh, here we go.
Sometimes I don't get why there's traffic to begin with. Like, you'll be
Exactly.
on the interstate, and then if, like, you finally get out of the thick of it, you get up to, like, 45, and then brake lights, and it's like, there's no accident, there's, like, no on-ramp here. Like, why are we slowing down? Like,
Well, you see it as when it's like the domino effect. You have a big group of cars that'll just start to brake, or somebody's going too fast and then slow down to get to that next person. Then it just slowly works its way back.
Rubberneckers and
And it doesn't even need to be any accidents or anything. Because then you ever get it where you're sitting in traffic for like 2 hours, and then you get to where there was supposedly a crash or something. There's nothing.
yeah.
And then everyone's just going. It's because everybody just started to pump their brakes at one point and it just slowly worked its way back.
it's stupid.
It is stupid. We are very grateful
Yeah.
When
and
I
lucky
started
to live where we live.
when I started driving, I always wondered why, like, people didn't just let off their foot, like, off the brake at red lights as soon as they turned green, and then we could all move forward at the same time, rather than, like, one person goes, the next person follows. Like,
That would include like 20 people paying attention to the same thing.
yeah, not on.
It's not gonna happen.
So now you got these freaking things here, and
Yeah.
that makes it 100 times worse because
Yeah.
everybody's on their freaking phone.
Yeah.
No.
I just wonder, where is everybody going?
That too.
Where
Where did you
is
go?
everybody going?
Yeah, where are you going?
Sometimes I don't know, but we were going to the McCormick place for Fab Tech.
But why is anybody on the road when you're on the road?
I know. Isn't that insane?
Dude.
And it wasn't even rush hour. It was like 11 o'clock.
Yeah. It was just
That's
dumb.
insane.
I was really crabby yesterday.
He was fun to ride with for 6 hours.
How many guys do you
No,
have
more
packed in
than
the
that.
vehicle?
8 hours. 5?
How many people were in the vehicle?
5.
5 guys.
I will say that something about driving with you in traffic is
Full car.
honestly one of my favorite things. It is so funny.
I get so wired.
You get so wired, so pissed off, and it's just like, as a passenger, I can see it as a driver. But as a passenger, you see it, you're just like, whatever, and you laugh at the person getting all pissed off. It's comical.
And I think I tamed down a little bit.
I'm getting better.
Mellowed out a little bit.
Mellowed out a little
Yeah.
bit, yeah.
Yeah, but you've been traveling a ton, then you got back just last week also from Gas Monkey Garage.
Yeah.
Damn.
So we did a metal shaping event down at Gas Monkey, and this is something that we used to do pre-COVID. We do, I think we'd do like 2 a year, but this was when I was still involved in the companies, and right before COVID, we were going to do one big one at that time, and we were all packed, ready to go, and it was going to be at Bobby Walden's shop in Pomona, California. And that was when COVID was breaking, and they were just about ready to shut the country down, and we were like the day before. It was like, are we going or aren't we going? Nobody knew what to do, and this is all new to everybody. And we just says, you know what? Screw it. We're not going to do it. We pulled it, and then the next day, they shut the country down.
No kidding.
You know,
So you wouldn't have made it very far anyway then.
so we made the right call. You know, other than being there, and then everything turns to shit. You know, so
Right.
so that was what? Now that's 4 years ago, and now Bailey brought it back, and they wanted to bring it back in a big splash. And a big splash was having it, you know, somewhere like
Yeah.
Gas Monkey or somebody, you know, well known in the industry.
That's awesome.
So it was fun. Yeah, I had a really good time. Actually.
So how do they break the classes down? Like, what does the event look like?
Well, so they had a semi-trailer full of Bailey machinery and the stuff that we used to build at Rusch Machine. So 3 power hammers. I don't know how many bead rollers. Shit, there must have been 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, maybe 8 bead rollers were there.
Nice.
English wheels, multiple plenishing hammers. They brought the mag brake.
Damn.
So it was a whole semi full of equipment.
And it stays there then too, or does it get shipped back?
No, it got shipped back. So so Shane Henderson, he went down there, I don't know, a few days early. Maybe it was a week early. I don't remember. But he went there. They got all the machines there. They got it set up. And then we all came in on Friday, and I did my spiel on Friday night. And then they hosted the event with food and drinks. And, I mean, Richard was a great host. The place is amazing for having groups and stuff there. It's really set up well for having a lot of people there.
That's awesome. So then it's broken down into classes. And
So, well, what it is all of us instructors had our set demo that we did. Each of us had a pre-planned demonstration that we do, and we tried to keep it, hour and a half, no more than that, so everybody could get through their demonstrations, and then all the students would stand behind and kind of watch what you do, and then they would try to learn from that. And then Saturday afternoon is when the students would be cut loose to go ahead and either make one of the projects that we demoed or just experiment. We had a bunch of different projects that you could experiment with.
So what kind of students do you guys attract there? Are they all coach builders? Are they people that just want to learn this as a hobby? Are they doing this for a job? What kind of people are attending this?
It's a little bit of everything. And, Shane does the, what do you want to call it, acceptance, if you apply to it or whatever. So I don't really know what his criteria is to accept people. But
so not everybody makes the cut?
No, I guess not. And like I said, I don't know how he does it, but it was a great group of people. There really was. And we had a little bit of each. We had some very skilled people that were in the class this time that could have put on their own demonstration. And we had some beginners that never touched a hammer in their life. Mm-hmm. So it was a little bit of each. And I shouldn't say it makes it challenging, but you can go from talking to one guy that kind of can teach you stuff, and then you go from somebody that never picked up a hammer before. So it's a little different. So you have to kind of wade through all that and keep people active and going at their project and learning at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
One of the coolest things is that that metal shaping industry. You guys have this awesome group of core guys.
We do.
That were the instructors, and I really. Do you feel like there's more people coming up in that industry?
Well, there was a big influx of it pre-COVID. It was a pretty good growing industry. COVID came and kind of the whole world changed, even metal shaping changed. I don't know why. It just kind of got flat. It seemed like throughout all of COVID time, that metal shaping industry seemed very flat. But now it seems like it's growing a resurgence.
Yeah. Well, putting on events like that, going to Gas Monkey Garage would be super
yeah,
cool.
So it was cool.
I think that's a great idea to kick it off with an event like that is Gas Monkey. They've been around for a while. They're a massive name, and especially with all the instructors. So it was you, Mike Wagner.
Yeah, so it was me, Mike Wagner, Kyle Yoakum, Christian Sosa, Bobby Walden, and that was a
That's a solid team right there.
solid team. Yeah.
Heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Heavy hitters, and they're all Josh Allison too. So him and I had never met. Josh is he would build motorcycles and stuff and I think he worked at OCC for a while. But holy crap, is that guy talented?
Yeah.
So I never followed him. I didn't really know all that much about him, but watching his demo was pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So his core thing is hand tools. He does everything with hand tools.
Old school.
But man, he whipped up a fender for a guy, and it was beautiful. You could have bolted it on the bike. It was perfect.
So a block of wood, a bag, and a
stump,
hammer.
Yeah,
That's
a bag, stump. Mechanical shrinkers, planishing, English wheel.
That shit's amazing. That's a flat out artist.
It is.
Yeah.
Let's take a flat sheet of steel and beat it into submission into the shape that we want.
That's
And it's
basically it.
It is, it has to be perfect.
You know?
Yeah, especially the stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was always amazed by that.
wild.
Even when I did work at by you at RMD, it's just it wasn't art, and those people they're totally artists.
Yeah, it was.
It's just they have the vision on knowing what they got to do, knowing what tools they have to use to get it there, and it's super amazing.
It is.
And that was the craft that always intrigued me, and that's why I got into it, because what Dylan said, that was the same reason I got into it, is because it was kind of mind-baffling to me that this could be done.
Right.
And I kind of just took it on its own course on making equipment so other people can do this, because I wanted to do it too.
So that's a good avenue to go off of. So the metal shaping, like the power hammers and stuff, came after the tube benders.
It did.
Right? So can you walk through like beginning when we were kids, like how did RMD get started?
Yeah, it's kind of my standard story. Everything happened. Well, I'll back up a little bit. So if you want to
tell them who you are, where you came from,
so
right from the beginning.
So right out of high school, I started working for a company. It was called Omega Manufacturing, and that company made high-speed wrapping equipment. And I started working at that company, like I said, right out of high school. I was sweeping floors, just trying to learn as much as I could, but I was really impressed and fascinated with this type of equipment. It was fast-moving, big machinery type stuff.
So that's what drew you to that company? Did you go
No, I just was looking for a job.
Oh, so you just were going around?
Yeah, at that time,
applications, or how did you get there?
Jobs were few and far between, and my dad told me, he's like, you got to get a job. And
so is this the 80s?
This is 1985.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
Easy. And,
you ever see that one with Kevin Hart? Where some guy tells his age, he's like, yeah, I'm 55. He's like, damn.
Everybody gets there.
But back in the 80s, the economy wasn't that great, and getting a job wasn't the easy thing to do. Jobs were few and far between, and my dad's like, you get a job, you get in a company somewhere, and don't gripe about what it is or pay. Just take the freaking job to get a job.
Just be grateful to have a job. It's very different than what it is nowadays.
Yeah.
So different.
So I did, and I was kind of I was a total gearhead in school, and I went and applied at this place, and I brought all of my shop projects along in the back of my mom's Chevette.
Mm-hmm.
So I had I built a floor jack, and I can't remember, basically every high school shop project that I made.
Yeah.
I brought along to my interview to show the guy who was interviewing me, like, well, this is what stuff that I built in school.
Case studies. You brought your case studies along.
So needless to say, I got hired, and $3.75 an hour. Huh?
Wow. There you
Shut
go.
up.
Not
really?
bad, yeah. That was
That is insane.
and I started working for that company, and we were working. Right out of the gate, I worked 10 hours a day for like 8 years.
Okay, so you're in high school at this point. So
Well, I was sweeping floor. Okay, so I started, and then I started part time because I was right at the end of my my senior year.
Yeah.
So I started in I don't know, it might have been May, March, somewhere in there, but somewhere towards the end of my senior year, I started.
So 18 years old, about 17, 18.
17, 18, somewhere, and then after. So my last 2 classes of school, I had. What's that called? I don't remember anymore. Where you get out?
Oh, you get out of school?
Just early release or
early
whatever?
release or whatever it was.
Work
Because
release.
I had my
Apprenticeship?
credits. My credits were full, and I could leave
Yeah.
a couple hours early. So I would leave early, and I would go, and then basically I was just a gopher, just running around shop, sweeping floors, putting steel away, doing whatever they told me to do.
Yeah.
And then once I graduated from high school, I started working full time. And then, like I said, it was 10 hours a day for shit. It had to be 7-8 years.
Damn.
Wow.
So
And
then-
that's how we worked back then. It was
Yeah.
tens, and there was no negotiating.
And at this time, when did you meet Mom? So you met Mom.
Yeah, me and Mom met. That was at Mole Lake, and I'm trying to think of that was right around the same time. So 1986, 87, 86,
So like pretty much right out of high school.
right out of high school.
So
yeah.
met Mom, started dating her, got this job,
Yeah.
working like a dog, and then what was Mom doing?
Back then, I'm trying to think now. Christ, that's a long time ago. What the hell was she doing?
So you're
Well,
telling me there's no
she-
influencer jobs making $10 million a
No.
month and driving around in Huracans and shit?
Well, Mom was working at Manitowoc Ice. That's right. So she was factory job building refrigerators.
So 2 people starting off in the grindstone, putting their feet to the stone and working minimum
Yep.
wage for 10 hours a day just to make by. And you guys were
Yeah.
happier than a clam, I bet.
We were. Yeah, it was great. And well, then we bought a house. I can't remember. Bad with years. I have to write all this shit down. But we bought Tracy, my wife Tracy, or your mom, your grandpa's house.
Mm-hmm.
We bought Ivor's house because he was moving out to his cottage.
Well, probably for like 15 grand.
No, it was 26,000. I believe.
26 grand.
Yeah.
That's a nice house. And now I bet you that house is probably like 350 grand.
I think it just sold for, I don't know if it was 200, but somewhere around
That's
200, I
insane.
think.
But interest rates were also pretty high back then, weren't they? In the 80s, 90s, they were.
Yeah, so we got it was called a WIDA loan back then, and I don't know, 6.9% pops in my head. But I think there was a time when we had a 9% interest rate, but that was for a really short time, and then we refinanced and got a WIDA loan, but it was high interest rate for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So you're working at this job, met Mom. You guys are both hitting it hard. And at what point? So did you continue to move up at Omega then?
Yeah, I did. So at Omega, I mean, I kind of I always tried to kind of put myself in a position to make something, because sweeping floors was kind of getting old, and I thought I was more valuable than that to the company. So I wanted to make parts.
You didn't just expect it.
No, I didn't expect it. So I would put myself in a position. There would be a skid full of parts, and a machine was open, and then I can't remember the name of my boss at that time, but anyhow, I would go to him. I'm like, I can make some of that stuff on the pallet,
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I don't know if you're ready yet, So he would give me something lesser of a task to do,
Right.
or drill press work or something like that. You got to remember back then, all these machines and stuff that we built were they were all done on manual equipment. There were,
Right.
CNCs. So
Yeah.
everything was done on a Bridgeport style mill, drill press, lathe, all manual stuff. So
Yep.
you made a part, you made it all by hand. But I wanted to challenge myself back then, because every part on these pallets was new to me. It was a new part, and I wanted to see if I could make it.
And I don't know if it was you telling us this or if it was Ivor, but one of your bosses was the boss that would like fire someone if you didn't like how they walked?
Well, that was that was the guy who hired me. That was the owner of the company. So yeah, he would if you were walking through the shop and you were sloughing or shuffling your feet, he would go. Okay, so there was the main boss, the guy who owned the company, the main boss, and then he had a boss that ran the shop.
Right.
So if he saw somebody he didn't like, he would go to the boss that ran the shop and he'd say, "I don't like that guy's body language. Get rid of him." And he'd haul him in the office and freaking fire him.
Yikes.
So we had a running tally.
Tough place to work, it sounds like.
Yeah, we had a running tally. It was kind of a joke to all us guys in the shop of the people that would come and go and how long they would last. So we had in the bottom of our toolbox, we had a list of people
you guys
that
would bet how long they would stay?
we probably did.
Yeah,
I don't
funny.
remember that in detail, but
You can tell right away who's going to make it and who's not. Like,
nowadays it's kind of commonplace, but we had a guy that didn't even make it to lunch one time. So,
See, so
I mean, it sounds tough though, but in reality, I like the owner's mindset. Like, you don't want. I mean, if you can't even carry yourself with positivity and confidence, is that really somebody that you want working with your team and that's going to push the company forward and push the employees forward, or is it just going to be somebody that drags the entire team down? Right. So you could look at it as being, wow, this guy's an asshole, or you could look at, wow, this guy knows what he fucking wants.
Right.
So, I think
something slowly but surely over the last 20, 30 years, there's been a mind shift change in the generation.
it's been
Your mindset was, I'm going to prove it to my boss that I can do X, Y, and Z.
In order to grow and in order to progress myself.
But even before that, you work like a dog for 5 years doing the same thing every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day. But you want to prove it, and you didn't expect anything. Where now that completely flipped, and it's like less work, more expectations.
Exactly.
It's
kind of sad because
it came from?
I don't know why people don't want to grow themselves.
Well, not only that, but prove themselves. Why wouldn't you want to prove to somebody that you can fucking do it?
Right. I would
earn their trust and respect.
Like going to work for me is I wanted the challenge.
Right.
I wanted to be challenged with something really hard.
Yeah.
And take it to the next level and maybe make it better, whatever the challenge was. How can I do this job and make it better?
Right.
I mean, granted, everybody has the time when they're like, burned out a little bit and you're kind of tired. But, back then, there was no sloughing. Like, if you had a cell phone back then, oh, my God, there would be nobody working at my company. Everybody would be fired.
Yeah. Yeah. So
you have all robots in there.
You wanted to prove it to them. You saw this pallet of stuff, and where did you take it from there? Because eventually you started moving up.
Yeah, then finally, I can't remember exactly how it happened, but I got allowed to make some of the more complicated parts. Mm-hmm. And I would make one, and I'm just like, don't screw this up, don't screw up the part, because you got. And I made the parts, and they must have turned out well. They went on the machine, and then obviously the bosses at that time saw that, and they're like, this guy can kind of hold his own.
And you were young.
I was young. Well,
right?
17, 18 years old.
No shit.
So what kind of chatter did that make across the shop floor, and this 17, 18-year-old kid is
I mean, there's always a little that bravado shit going on even back then, Mm-hmm. I mean, guys like, oh, who's this young punk here? But I think I carried myself well enough that I got along with everybody. Mm-hmm. Well, I got another funny story with that, though, back then. So when I'm sweeping floors, I'm still part-time. So that was my job, sweeping floors, and there was a bunch of, guys probably 10 years older than me that were like the main machinists there, mm-hmm. and they had these nice Gerstner toolboxes. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but they're wooden toolboxes, and they got all their mics and all their measuring instruments in them, and they were all on roller carts. You take a roller cart from machine to machine with your tools, and I'm sweeping floors, and I'm going back, and I'm going through, and I go back with the broom, and I hook this guy's toolbox, the top of it, with my broom, and down it goes. And I had just started. Yeah, I had a week in.
I'm gone.
And this guy's toolbox goes, and I'm like, oh my God, and I just
young 60-year-old kid.
And smash this guy's box. All his tools are on the ground, and I'm like, oh my God. So don't know if it's funny or not, but I'm like, oh, I'll pay for it, whatever. And the guy was pissed. Obviously, you should have been.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm like, I had no money.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll pay you back. I say, I'll take it off every check, whatever, and whatever it is, whatever I broke, I'll pay for,
Yeah.
And I got home, and my dad got home from work, and I'm at the kitchen table, and I told him about it. I said, oh, Dad. He goes, well, pack your shit. He says, because you're
gone.
he says, you're going to go back tomorrow, and you're done. They're going to get rid of you. And I'm like, oh, shit. I was scared. I went to work. I'm like, oh, here it is. I'm going to get the axe, Well, they didn't fire me.
Shit.
But
walking around just checking your pack.
Yeah, I was like, I thought for sure I was going to
You
get.
were walking around nice and straight, weren't you? No slouching.
I thought for sure I was going to get fired, So it was kind of a funny story. You know him. That was Andre Lafond. You know Andre?
I don't think so.
I know LaFond.
Yeah. So, we ended up working together for 10 more years together.
Yeah.
We ended up being friends. And
Right.
So did you buy them all new shit?
I bought him whatever was broke.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what it was. I think he just glued the toolbox, and I don't know. Memory's serving me. It was like $200 he wanted just for.
But back then, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it was.
By $1,000 or so. I love the mindset then, too, of you broke somebody's stuff, and now you're not working to make money for yourself. You're working to pay
I was working to pay back that guy. Exactly.
You broke, and that's just how it is sometimes, and you have to learn those values in order to become the person that you will in the future.
Yeah.
So you proved your boss. You're making these parts. You're making a name for yourself. You're young. One thing about that, too, is correct me if I'm wrong, I feel back then, when you were in your teens, you guys were more like adults than teens are now. You know what I'm saying?
They were
like,
stuck to a screen brainwashing them for 12 hours a day.
Like I feel like you were 16 years old, you're working with your dad, you're doing shit young versus now a 16-year-old, you're, like you said, behind a computer screen playing video games. Not really learning anything.
Well, there was
No, you're learning TikTok dances, so.
Yeah, that's super valuable.
The different mindset back then was we were, I'm not going to use the word poor, but we didn't have a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of an unwritten rule that we knew that mom and dad weren't going to take care of us. There wasn't nothing to take care of us with, and they had made just enough money to get by and keep food on the table. So when we were 18, like I said, my dad never said, "Yeah, get the hell out of the house," but you just knew that
you gotta start pulling your weight around here.
You gotta get out of the house.
So what was you didn't entertain the idea of college or anything like that?
Loosely,
or military. You thought about that, right?
So I wanted to be a fighter pilot. That was my.
Yeah, because Top Gun came out.
Yeah, Top Gun came out. And, it was freaking cool. And I went to the recruiting place. It used to be in Manitowoc, and I'm like, I want to fly planes. Everybody was probably waiting in line to get in there because of Top Gun. And you had to have a kind of like a questionnaire, and I wore glasses at the time, and back then, if you wore glasses. You weren't flying jets.
Yeah, they don't want shitty eyesight.
And he's like, "Well, you can be, you can be a mechanic." I'm like, "Well, that all sounds great, but I want to fly jets."
Yeah. You got glasses? Oh, these? Yeah, I don't actually need these.
Yeah. So that was the end of that. I'm like, well, if I can't fly, I don't want to go in, kind of thing, So then I just went to get a regular college. My grandpa had said that he would have helped funded college if I would have chose that direction, but honestly, college I never even drew interest in going to college. I just didn't. I wasn't a good I shouldn't say not a good schooling type. I just didn't like how schooling I didn't like how they taught.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I got to continue this on for 4 years, I'm probably not going to do very good because I don't do well with how they teach.
So you need more hands-on.
I need to be
involvement, not sitting in a classroom type deal.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now I look back and I figured it out. Is the method of teaching, the way I was taught in school, they deviated from the way they used to teach in the 40s. So now I go on YouTube and stuff, and I'll watch old training videos from the 40s and during the war years on how they train people, and I think I would have did very well in that type of schooling. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what's different about it, but I relate to it a lot better. I follow it a lot better, and it seems more understandable to me.
Yeah, because if you're not paying attention or messing off, you get your ass. The teacher kicks your ass.
Yeah.
Well, that helps too.
Definitely more alert.
Yeah.
So anyways, college was rule. I didn't want to go.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it. I had no interest in it. And I was more of a tinkerer and hands-on person anyways. I just like building shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I always remember that you're telling me when you were a kid in high school, you'd have friends that are going to play basketball, and
I was working on
basketball
my
practice
Nova.
instead you're taking apart your lawnmower.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, I did
like,
that too.
You're doing more gearhead stuff versus some people took a different route.
Well, yeah, me and my brother would scour everybody back then, when you're a kid, you wanted to build a go-kart. That's what we did, So we would scour the neighborhood for horizontal shaft motors that are put out to the garbage,
It's crazy.
It's a very specific.
Yeah,
thing to
it's
be,
super
like,
specific.
It is. That's what we looked for, because all the lawnmowers are vertical shaft, and you can't
you
use
can't do
those.
anything with
You can't
that.
do anything
Just
with
look
them.
at how easy we have it now, though. If you want to find whatever you're looking for,
Amazon, boom,
Amazon,
there it is.
Facebook Marketplace, whatever it is,
Yeah.
you can find
2
it in a
days.
second. Like, I think we just became, with technology, just became weak.
We
And
did.
Things just got handed to us.
Too convenient.
It's too convenient. Like, you didn't have to go and hunt for anything.
I find it too. I feel guilty because everything is so easy right now. I really do. If I need something, I just go online, Google it, look it up. Before, if I needed to do research on something, I'd have to go to the library.
Right.
Library, newspaper,
Library,
magazine,
newspaper, books,
and
and
then
you have
how
to
old
go-
is what you're looking at still even current?
Yeah.
Right.
Right? Like, it's
And,
crazy.
So, just as going back to when we were kids, what we would do for my brother, I can't remember how old he was. He must have been, it was before driving, so he must have been 14, 15 years old. He built a full wooden boat by himself.
Wow.
At 15 years old.
Yeah. And we'd build the boat, or he built the boat, actually. I didn't have much to do with that. And because I was younger, I'm 3 years younger than him, so I wasn't handsy enough to understand what was going on. And I'm like, Christ, my brother building a freaking boat.
Yeah.
So it's like a wooden rowboat?
A pram. It's a flat bottom boat.
Yeah.
So we would haul that thing down to lived really close to the river. So we'd put it on skateboards. We had 4 skateboards. We'd set it on skateboards. We'd roll it down the road, get it to the river, launch it, and then he had what started out as that's where one of the horizontal motors that we found. It started out as an inboard with
You put an engine on it,
we
too.
put an engine on it, and then it had a shaft going through, and the packing seal. I think there's a specific name for it. I forget what it is. It goes through to a prop, and he had a rudder on it.
Okay.
And he'd go putt around the river with it, in a
14
little
years old.
14 fucking years old.
Some
Yeah.
people just quit pissing the bed at 14.
little 5-horse Briggs and Stratton on it, but it was slow, and he
Yeah,
got
but
it.
still, it floated and it moved,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
dude, how
And you
awesome
made it
is
by
that?
hand, yeah.
But no,
Shane was always sharp.
this gets better. So we got it back, and again, I don't know where he got this motor from, but he ended up finding an outboard, a Mercury outboard. I think it was like a 10-horse or something like that. Mercury outboard, and then he had to beef up the transom to hold it, and he put that 10-horse on there. And holy shit, did that
Hammered?
fricker move in? Because it was a flat bottom boat, you know. And then
skipped.
once it got on plane,
Yeah.
it just frickin' hauled
Oh, man,
ass.
that's
But then
awesome.
it wouldn't turn because it was
flat.
It was flat,
hull,
squished,
yeah.
and the thing was
yeah.
squirrely as hell. So we got it back, and we put runners. He screwed runners to the bottom to try and keep
it's
it.
like a surfboard.
Yeah. So then he ended up getting it dialed in so you could turn
That's
with
awesome.
it and everything.
That sounds
Where is it
fucking
today?
fun, doesn't it?
Yeah.
yeah.
Any idea where it is today?
Oh, I'm sure it's it got burned or something.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything that was going to be saved.
Yeah.
So
That
then
sounds freaking awesome.
Omega,
Yeah.
because the story's good on that because you start working your way up.
Yep. So Omega. So I'm back on that, making parts for the company. And honestly, we're building these machines, big machines. They take up a whole room, and I didn't know what they really did. I'm just a guy making parts for this stuff, and they're putting these things back here, and I didn't know what they did.
Right.
So then it'd take about 6 to 8 months to build a machine, and then they would start running and testing it, and it was a wrapping machine for wrapping toilet paper.
Yep.
And I was like, holy shit, this is really freaking cool. And it's a fully automated thing, but it's all mechanical.
Yeah.
You know, no servos, no modern day technology. It's all cams and levers and
A lot
shit.
of linkages.
A lot of linkages and then
fast moving parts.
And for some reason, all that stuff, I just loved it.
Yeah.
You know, moving connection parts and stuff. It's like a giant erector set to me,
Yeah.
and it was awesome. So I really like, man, I really like this. This is a great job. So everybody would ask me, like later on in life, where'd you go to college? You know, you must have went to college. I'm like, college was Omega. That's where I
Right.
learned everything, was at that company. And we did a lot there. We did machining, we did electrical work, hydraulic work, pneumatic work.
I feel like you learned the basics.
Yeah,
Basics
there's a
of
lot
stuff
though.
that you could expand. No,
Yeah.
right. The basics of how things worked.
Exactly.
You know?
That's
and
it.
then that's pretty much all you need to be able to get you to the next points throughout your life.
So then we moved to a different building. And then this was a brand new building, moved to a new building. And then from there, I went from machining parts to assembly of these machines. So that was like a natural progression, you know. Well, you kind of, the way we did it was we'd make all the parts, build the machine, test the machine, go on to the next one. So part of the year, you're machining parts to get it, to build this machine. The next part of the year, you're putting it together.
Yeah.
You know, and then you kind of just, it's a revolving cycle. You just kind of keep doing that. So then I got into assembly, started putting these things together and testing them, and the years went on, and then we started adding more equipment, more machines that we were building. And then it got to the point where we needed service people to go out in the fields and set these things up. So I'm young at that time. So my first trip, I think I was 24 years old. It was the first time I ever flew.
Yeah.
And they're sending me to Crossit, Arkansas. It's a little shithole down in the middle of nowhere in Arkansas.
So how did you go from assembly to service?
So when you're assembling machines, then you got to test them. You know, you have to test the machines, learn how they work, blah, blah, blah. So I just was a natural at it, I guess. I could fix machines, get them going. And this first, I can't really remember, was it a setup? Or I think this first trip they sent me on wasn't a full setup of a machine. It was just I had to go there and fix something. So we had just built a machine just like it. The guy that did the service was gone somewhere else, and they're like, do you think you can go there and fix whatever it was needed fixing? I'm like, yeah, I can do it. I just put it together in this machine, you know? So my first trip wasn't a full setup. It was just going to fix a problem. And I went there, I did it, and I was like, okay, everything went well. And then it just kind of grew and expanded from that. And then I ended up, assembling. And then when machines were done, I'd go set them up and install them.
One opportunity allowed you to continue to move
Yeah,
more and more up
exactly.
into the company. And I like the main thing too is that it didn't happen overnight. Like it takes time
No, it did.
to
No,
be able
so,
to like
yeah,
prove to them that you're knowledgeable to be able to take it to the next step.
right.
You know?
And it wasn't just me. There were other people in the company that were doing the same. I had hired with another guy, and him and I started at the same time, and we were both kind of going up in the company at the same pace, and they needed new blood to keep it rolling. So both him and I were traveling. He was going one direction, I was going the other direction, whatever it is.
Yep. So then how long did you work at Omega for?
13 years.
Wow. So then towards like the end, where were you?
Yeah, so what happened in the middle there is the company wanted new machines, and there was a new company that started in Italy competing equipment, and they had a lot of power. They had some sharp engineers, and their machines were kind of like kind of blowing us out of the water a little bit. I mean, ours would function, but they would be a little faster, or they would change over a little easier. Right. And they were offering the customers more of what they wanted. Everybody wanted the bells and whistles. That was the new thing. They wanted a touch screen. They didn't want knobs and switches and things. So this other company was offering that, and we were like, hey, we got to, because I was going out in the field setting up, and I was seeing this new equipment. I'm like, holy shit, we have to pick up our game here a little bit. And I would come back, and so we wanted to design a machine to wrap single roll toilet paper. That was a big market, and there was only one or two machines in the world that wrapped it.
Right.
And it was a big market. So the market is hotels, or any service, I mean, all of you have been somewhere where you see a single roll of toilet paper wrapped with the cores stuffed in the end in paper. So there were only a couple handful of machines out there, brands that would do that. So I kind of had a clever idea of doing it, and I presented it to my boss. I'm like, hey, I think we can make a machine to do this. And I mean, he kind of cut me loose and said, moved me from going traveling in the world out and setting up machines to in engineering, and he kind of says, show me what you can do, kind of thing, So I spent a shit ton of time and I designed it, and because it was sidelined from our normal stuff that we were selling, I had made most of the parts for the machine myself for the first prototype. I didn't make everything, but a lot of stuff I would make, and then I was on the side kind of putting this machine together, kind of like a test demo machine to see if we could make this work. And then we saw progression, and I was like, holy shit, this thing might actually work. It was a complicated machine.
Yeah.
And then the boss threw more resources at it and said, okay, let's get this thing done and working. So then he kind of threw everybody at it to finish it. So we had an electrical engineer there, and then he did all the wiring and got the panel together, and we got this thing fired up and running. And some bitch, it worked.
Worked good?
Well, not right away, but it took a while. But you could tell it had promise right out of the gate.
But I mean, even at this age, you're still in your 20s. You're young, right?
Yeah.
So building a whole new machine, launching a whole new division of the company after this product, you got that opportunity because you showed value. You showed what you could do to the organization, not, again, expecting it.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I think I can do this. Really good opportunity. I did my market research. I'm going to design it. Give me a chance. And,
yeah, kind of.
And you created that opportunity for yourself.
Yeah, I think so. Well, then the machine ended up, it took I can't remember the exact timeline, but, 1 or 2, maybe 2 years. It took 2 years to probably put it to bed like it was a good saleable machine. Then we started selling them, and then that was kind of my baby. So I was the one going out to set them all up because I was the one that knew it and knew to get it going. Nobody ever seen a machine like this before. So they weren't going to send anybody. Well, they ended up later on sending other people to service them and stuff. But I went and serviced it. So on a sideline to that, at home for fun, I'm building a Lamborghini Countach.
Yeah, just on all the free time.
Yeah, for fun.
Besides building a brand new machine from scratch, just
At 23
also
years
building
old,
also building a Countach in my garage.
So that's where the car stuff comes in. So I was always a car fanatic. I mean, and at that time, the Lamborghini Countach was the pinnacle. And
Beautiful
The
car.
Countach owned the 80s.
It did, and
does.
I wanted one. I wanted one so bad I could frickin' taste it. You know what I mean? But there was no
I don't
chance.
think most people's thought process is, man, I really want one of those. I'll just build one.
Yeah, I can't afford it, so I'll build it.
That's what it was. I couldn't afford it. I knew I wasn't going to be able to afford it, and I'm like, I'll make one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot. I mean, this time in my life, there was a lot of shit going on.
Yeah. Well, then
And then you guys came along.
Dylan.
Yeah. So it was a busy time. I mean, it's all kind of compiling on top of itself.
So, but I want to expand on this because especially one of the purposes of the podcast is the nitty gritty side of it of where you are at life when you started up a company. Like at this point, you and Mom didn't have much money.
No.
You had a newborn. You had Dylan.
Yep.
You just bought a house, so finances are probably tough. Like you're paying bills. You're just getting by, and.
Well, I turned the corner. I mean, I will agree. I mean, when I designed that last machine, I turned the corner in the company, and the owner started paying me pretty good.
Nice.
So
You realized your value, but it took a long time to get there, right?
So at that time, I was making pretty good money. So let's see. When I was designing the machine, I was making $13 an hour. But when kind of at the height of my career, I was making $50,000.
Nice. Back then, that's
in the early 90s, that's pretty
so
solid.
that was solid money.
Yeah.
So we weren't struggling.
Yeah.
I was making a good wage and we were living a good life, and I could have continued that life like it was. But what I was telling you about that competition company coming in, they were coming in strong. And we needed to advance our other equipment, not just the one that I did, but our other equipment needed to advance. And the owner of the company, he would keep pulling us back. Like he didn't want to go that direction, maybe because he didn't know it enough. But I could see that it was going to be a problem for the company, that our sales weren't going to. I could just see it, because I would go travel. When I was traveling, I would see all this new equipment. I'm like, we are not keeping up with these guys, and it's going to be tough.
Right.
So I could see that we were probably not going to be around much longer, or we were going to slow really down in sales.
Yeah.
And I kind of didn't like it. I wanted the bar to keep getting pushed and going, advancing with the companies. You know.
And especially in such a niche market like that was, you had to adapt and
You did.
and pivot.
Yeah,
otherwise, you're going to be left in the dust.
You had to stay with the times, or it wasn't going to happen. That was my view of it. So towards the end, I was designing another machine, kind of based off the same concept of the single roll machine I was telling you about, and this was a napkin wrapper. So a napkin, they call it accordion napkins. So you go to the store and you buy them accordion ones.
It's wrapped around.
Yep. So I made a machine. That was like my final project at that company.
Nice.
To make a machine to wrap napkins, and it was kind of based real similar to the concept of the other machine, and that was a cool piece. And but it got to the point. Sideline. I'm building the car in my garage. I'm like, I see the writing on the wall that this company might not make it longer. Not that my boss was good, he was good, but I kind of wanted to be my own boss, a little thing. I wanted to keep going, I guess. So I'm like, the only way I can do this, either I'm jumping ship, going to one of these other companies that are doing this next stuff, or I'm going to do it on my own.
Right.
So I went to, so I was building that car in my garage, and I needed to bend. There was there's like 6 tubes on the car that need to be bent. Okay, I went to a local company. We had a tube bending company right in our city, and I'm like, hey, I need to bend these couple tubes. Can you do this? Oh yeah, if you got 1,000 of them, I can bend it. Otherwise, it's going to be some stupid number to make a die to bend. And I'm like, shit, I just need to bend these tubes,
Right.
And it was frustrating. I was kind of pissed, and there was no internet at the time, no way to like Google, hey, who would it work? And I send tubes.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, shit, I design machines for a living. I'm just going to design a machine to bend this tubing.
Yeah.
So I did. So in my free time, I designed a machine at home.
This all makes sense of starting 15 projects at once.
Yeah, now I see where it's all good.
Okay.
I still do it.
Starting early.
I still do it to this
Even
day.
when you were in your 20s. Yeah, because then, that they don't know too, you also built a garage in between there and did a bunch of other
I built a garage to build the car.
Remodeled the house. Yeah, built the garage to build the car.
Yeah.
Had a kid, all this stuff.
So
You got married at this point too, didn't you?
Yeah.
This is when you and Mom got married?
Yeah. So 1990 we got married. I'm trying to think. Yeah. So anyhow, I'm building the car. Where was I going with that?
You're building the car. You're looking for tubes.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody to bend the tubes, but you couldn't find anyone. Might as well add another project to the list.
So I made a machine to do it, and that's when my shop was kind of like the people would come and hang out because they always wanted to see what the crazy guy down the street was doing in the garage, So I would have that machine there, and they're like, "Holy shit, that thing's really cool!" The tubing bender,
Don't mind the Countach being built.
Yeah, and that was part of. They came to see the car.
No, I know.
But I was. I bent the tubes I needed, and it was crude. It was a crude machine. It wasn't a saleable machine. It was just enough machine to bend the tubes. And I was like, well, I says, if I need to bend these tubes, somebody else needs to do it in this country too. So, and people would say, oh, that's a really cool machine. You should sell those. I'm like, maybe, So redesigned the machine. I spent a bunch of time redesigning it, making it into a saleable item, like packaging it, putting a stand on it. And I'm like, well, who the hell in the world needs tube bending? And I'm like, well, first thing that popped in my head was, NASCAR. NASCAR was really big at that time, actually. It was.
Oh, yeah, in the 90s, NASCAR was king. Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt, let's go.
And the only, like I said, no internet or anything, it was magazines. Mm-hmm. So I would go to the local grocery store or whatever and pull all them, Hot Rod, and, Hot Rod magazine, Hot Rodder, Circle Track, there were a bunch of racing magazines. Mm-hmm. And in the back, you'd look in the back in the classifieds, and that's where you would get your information on what's going on in the world. And there was a trade show, Circle Track Racing Expo that was in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, that's where I'm going to find out if this thing is a real deal or not. And I didn't even know if there was competition. I didn't even know if there was another tubing bender company out there. Anything, you know.
So how long did it take you from, okay, you realized, all right, I might have something here, let's redesign it, to, all right, I'm going to North Carolina to this event?
I don't know,
to this trade show.
Probably 6 months, maybe.
Which is pretty fucking impressive, because remember, this is a time when there's no computers for drafting or any of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So
I had AutoCAD. At that time, I had AutoCAD. I had AutoCAD.
Okay,
yeah,
so
just
very,
2D AutoCAD.
very basic
just 2D.
rendering softwares, right?
Yeah.
And you were still able to get that all done and packaged up. And like, how did you figure out pricing? Like, did you do any of that, or did you just?
I did it all. Yeah. So I mean, I came up with I was somewhat experienced because I was figuring out pricing for the machines we were building. You know? But I didn't know nothing about markups and margins or any of that kind of crap, you know. So I would talk to my accountant. He says, well, whatever you got, whatever it costs to make it, he said, double it. I'm like, okay, that's what I did. So this is what it cost me to make it, times 2. That was the sale price.
Yeah.
And I took 2 weeks of vacation at the company I was working, and I packed up a trailer and bought a spot at this Circle Track Racing Expo and shot down there for a trade show. Then put my machine in there and got there and walking through, you know, and I'm wheeling the thing in by hand. There's a whole story about getting there too, but pushing it in, and everybody's looking, like I said, racing was big at the time. They're like, holy shit, look at that, a tube bender, woo! And I'm like, holy fuck, I don't know.
Yeah, hey, you're right. Look at it.
So how are they doing it up currently at this time?
Well, at that time,
like,
are they
cutting and welding, or how are they?
No, they were bending. There was a bender out there, and I didn't know it.
Yeah,
you know, and it was called Pro Tools bender, and it was a hand ratcheting style bender, and mine was powered. You know, I didn't even know that bender existed till I got to this trade show, and then I got here, and I'm like, holy shit, there's competition. There's
Surprise,
this, there's this one, there's that one, or these, and I had designed mine to only bend 1.5 inch tubing, and I wasn't schooled in NASCAR to know that they bend 1 3/4. So I only designed a machine to bend 1.5 because that's what I needed for my car.
So now you just got all the way to North Carolina.
Yeah.
You found out that there's competition, and you found out that the tubing they're bending is bigger.
That's correct.
So,
yeah.
Okay.
So I struck out on all 3.
Well, at least you made it better than theirs, though. Yours was
yes
yours
and
had
no.
A motor on it.
It did. So what I realized quickly is it wasn't a great machine for speed.
Yeah.
It did the job, you know, but it was slow. And when I was, like I said, I didn't know any of this stuff was out there, and I didn't know what the market was like.
Yeah.
And I realized, I'm like, oh, this thing is too slow. You know?
Yeah.
So I only made 4 of that model. 4 of that first model, and I had to redesign it right away because I knew it wasn't gonna go.
Would you sell those for?
I have one of the 4 in my attic. Yeah.
No kidding.
And the first one went to Penske Racing.
Damn, pretty big customer right out of the gate.
And I don't know where the other 2. I don't remember where the other 2 went. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, one of them is at Burger Boat.
Yeah.
And then the third one. So there's one missing.
Damn, 2 big companies.
One missing somewhere.
That trade show, looking at it, probably gave you a lot of, 1, knowledge, because you're like, okay, what else out there is in the industry? But 2, probably motivation, because you're like, hell yeah, people love my machine. I sold some of them.
Yeah.
And I got because I remember you saying you got a shit ton of business cards from it too.
Yeah, that's it.
So the feedback from the show was good.
Feedback was good, and people, I mean, I knew from the feedback that there was a want for this because the other machine that was out there was manual.
Yeah.
It wasn't powered. I'm like, there's a need or desire for a powered machine instead of a muscle. So like I told you, just previously talking, I came back with a shoebox full of business cards, and I had no fucking clue on how to sell machines. None.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, what do I do with all this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had to take vacation from your day job?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is all that's still happening.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. So then, we want to continue, or do we want to?
We'll finish this episode up on a next one. But a few notes I want to make quick. One is going back to the industry side of things when you're working at Omega. Anybody starting up a business, even from the 2 benders that you're making, at an early stage, you have to understand how big the industry is. you were making machines that rolled toilet paper. And you weren't the only ones doing it.
No.
So look at how big the industry is, and you can make such niche products in such niche industries and make a killing.
Well, people are always going to be wiping their ass.
Yeah,
so.
and the tube bending
It's a
too.
pretty
Like,
secure job.
it's a massive industry, but it's small on the grand scale of things. But there's such a massive opportunity there if you just focus your entire energy on that.
I mean, I thought about going or staying in the paper industry because there is a lot of money in the paper
especially
industry.
in this area, right? And they're good paying jobs.
Yeah, I mean, this area is like the pinnacle, but paper industry is huge around the country.
Right. Yeah.
There's paper. I mean, everybody, like you said, everybody needs to wipe their ass and blow their nose.
Yeah.
So the paper industry is alive and well, and if you can find a niche product that fits the paper industry, you're going to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't say I was burnt out, but I kind of was burnt out in the paper world a little bit.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to try something different.
Now you got this new little, shiny object that is in your control.
Chasing butterflies.
Yeah. But last thing I want to cover too is if you're at an organization, especially like you were, lower the expectations and work your ass off to prove it to people and show your worth, Especially in today's industry or in today's society with social media and stuff, I feel like it's just so the expectations are much higher in such a short span of time. You were sweeping floors for 2+ years and didn't ask for anything.
The work
paid.
ethic is, I mean, I hold that in high regard.
Yeah.
I do, because I just don't, I mean, some people have it, but I don't see it like I used to see it. Like, you bust your ass all day.
Yeah.
We had so it was really strict where I worked. So we had buzzers and bells for everything. So buzzer for the time to start, buzzer for break when you have break, buzzer for when the break is over. And if you weren't doing something in between that, you got written up or jacked up.
Yeah.
So
it was hard back then.
Yeah, it was strict. I mean, you were always kind of looking over your shoulder. Like if you have to be productive. If you weren't doing something being productive, you were cleaning.
Yeah. So we'll pick this up again next week. We'll talk about a lot of interesting things of when you teamed up with Stefan at Bailey. You guys
that's next.
That's pretty much the next step, right?
Yeah.
So we'll catch up. You just finished the trade show, and then you just got back. You got the shoebox full of business cards. Now what do we do?
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of the beginning of beginning of our MBA.
Cliffhanger, because it gets really exciting from here.
Let's go. This is just building, right? So we got a lot of leads. How do we attack them?
Yep.
Cool. Thanks for listening. This podcast was brought to you by Rotiform and Fuel Off-Road Wheels, which will be the main sponsor at Vyperfest. If you win the Burnout contest, you win a free set of Rotiform or Fuel Off-Road Wheels. If you win the car show, you win a package of stuff. You win a set of Rotiform or Fuel Off-Road Wheels, along with a Vyper two Vyper chairs and an Adams Polishes detailing package. And Vyperfest is available. Tickets are ready to go on Vyperfest.com. Don't miss this event. It's going to be sick. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.